For welcome to Sheni V'Chamishi. We're here. We just finished a beautiful Shabbos surf, and then we had a farbrengen, beautiful, with a shliach from Long Beach, California. His son is 18 in college, going to be a lawyer. I went out. You want some?
No, I'm good. I'm actually thinking.
It's very foggy today. And the Balagola is doing over there the Shabbos guy. He's not a guy because he comes from Yidden officially, but anyway, it's a beautiful thing we had going on, talking about chinuch and about what it means to be frum and not frum. Are you in the machane or are you out? And it's a very big mistake people make, where they think that someone left, or some people leave, but they do not. Some people leave, but they didn't really leave. They left Yiddishkeit, but the Yiddishkeit never left them, which means they keep things like kosher, which kosher, there's nothing religious or spiritual about keeping kosher. It's a diet and a practice that people accepted upon themselves. In Galus, a kind of way to keep together. But today, that's not what does it. That's not what does it for you, beruchnius. And of course, it's something that's rooted and exactly attached to the laws of Tumah V'Tara. And Tumah V'Tara is something that's not noyeg b'zman hazeh, and that's the point. The point is that if someone believes that this is, to him, this is the core of his Yiddishkeit, that this type of belief is the core of his Yiddishkeit, that's okay. No one is telling you what to believe and how to believe and which religion to base your practice. If you want to be mystical, you could base it on Judaism, you could base it on Islam, you could base it on Christianity. But no one can tell you what to believe and how to practice, because it's a universal faith already. It's shared by many, so everyone has a right to choose, whether it's Moses Mendelssohn in doing a more philosophical type of Yiddishkeit, or it's Shabtai Tzvi doing a more mystical type of Yiddishkeit, or it's Yashke, as he says, who is more of a firebrand militant type, or we don't really know much about him in terms of what we have from the Gemara. Was he more of a guy that was a faith healer, or was he just a rebel against the Kohanim, which everybody was? Even the Nevi'im, the prophets, were speaking against the Karbanis, saying that those Karbanis are abomination. Eventually, Yidden left go of the Karbanis. We say it in davening, but that's just spiritual commemoration. It's like art. In art, you take photos and pictures of anything, and you paint anything barbaric. But these are not things that we believe in. We claim to believe in it. The Rambam wrote in the Mishnah Torah about Ma'aser Karbanis, even though for hundreds of years they've not been doing Karbanis. So why was he writing about it? Because it was a code. They were trying to make a code out of the Gemara. The goal of the Gemara was to minimize machlokes in Yisrael. Machlokes doesn't mean two ignorant people having a shouting match. Machlokes means that two people have two different minhagim, and that these two different minhagim conflict. For example, when I was in yeshiva, I was seeking a little bit more than what I had from the Chabad Chassidus, and I took a little bit of a look into Nachman, and I made a pilgrimage on Chanukah. It was my first time in Uman. And Reb Nachman's idea was Shmiras Einayim, very asexual or anti-sex. He was afraid of sex. He was a mystic. This was his natural disposition. It's got nothing to do with Hashem or Torah. Shlomo Melech was shtupping like a behemoth, and he claims to be speaking to Hashem. So how do we reconcile? What God is it? Is it the God that likes sacrifices? Is it the war God? Or is it the God of the Baal Shem Tov, God von Avram, von Yitzchak, and von Yaakov? It's going to be Motzei Shabbos soon. So who is it? So the answer is, it is whatever you imagine it to be. And what the shliach from Long Beach said to me, amazing, he said, is as you grow older, you get more sophisticated in your emunah, in what Hashem is, but there's one core thing that's supposed to stay. We didn't decide what that one core thing was, but it could be that he is the creator of the atoms, then the atoms create planets, and planets create life, and life creates consciousness. So we'll give Hashem the credit of being the Bashefer. Oh, this is nice, a dog in the car. So if you see the hill, it's really foggy today. Just giving you a little treat. So back to the Inyan. So to understand Moses Mendelssohn, we'll give you a little crash course on him. There's a historian, Henry Abramson, and Henry Abramson is doing history of the Alter Rebbe, history of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, the Rebbe Shlita. history of Moses Mendelssohn and history of Shabtai Tzvi. So there really is no longer the need or the condition of ignorance today. So yes, what the boy was saying was not offensive. He's not offending anybody. The boy is shouting out, as the Rebbe would say, that the people on the street are shouting out for chinuch. He's saying, look what they did to me. Look how they indoctrinated me. In terms of, could you pass me the lighter? It's right in there by the CD. You can see it. It's right under the CD. No, where the CD is. Yeah, you're gonna see a blue lighter. It's like a bottle opener. So the boy is just saying, this is what my chinuch told me, that Yoshke, Shabtai Tzvi, and Moses Mendelssohn are the same thing, and they're trying to attack the cores of Yiddishkeit. They were not. Shabtai Tzvi said, if you want to live a halachic life, Google your nearest koilo, and your Litvische koilo will help you, or your nearest group of paskim, rabbis who were against the Mekubalim. Yoshke was saying, I don't know really what he said because it's very vague, and the Christians wrote so much that in Greek that probably wasn't him. But probably what he was saying was, I could heal you, or I could get rid of the Romans. Moses Mendelssohn is saying, we have an organ. You don't need a shmad. We could have a shul with an organ. Just like Chabad says, you don't have to go to Reform. We have a wonderful shul. We have a mechitza, but we're nice. We let you drive. We don't lock up the parking lot. We don't chase you down. We don't bother you. Here's the ocean. It was great. Anyway, so there's no need to fight or to be attack personally. The only answer to darkness is light. The only answer to ignorance is more education. And today, by a farbrengen that we had, I actually cut down on the surfing because I wanted to have more of a farbrengen, because I had as a geschmack a guy to farbrengen with, a shliach, a proper guy from he comes from the related to the Shachat family. He said to me, he was never a Meshachist, even in the early days. One of the Litvische style Chabadnikim, the ones who are rooted in halacha, they have a good background in halacha. If he had a good background in science, so a lot of what I said, but if I bring in, I wouldn't have to explain scientific truths and stuff like that. But he didn't. But he definitely had a good background in halacha, that it was very easy for me to talk about Chazal with him. I didn't have to argue about evident facts. He was already advanced in that area. So we talked about different things. He wanted to know what did it for me. What was the first question I had that led me? So I said it's a combination of things. It's having friends who are healthy and people that you know have no other problems, but the fact that they have a problem with Yiddishkeit, or not Yiddishkeit, Yiddishkeit is a culture, but they have a problem with religion. And I decided I have to research this. So I had the first question was in Tanakh. Like, did God really speak to Shlomo HaMelech? Because Shlomo HaMelech is a spoiled brat. And he claims Hashem spoke to him, and the things he claims Hashem said to him sound very inky human fingerprint and bad imagination. So, and that led me to go back to my shliach and to speak to people who are more of the academic types that I could trust that they're going to hear the question and they're going to process the question. And of course, the religion is based on belief. You could believe in anything. You're never going to get points for believing. There's no reward, not in this world and not in the next, for being a sucker. But if you choose to go to shul and you choose to daven, nobody can say a word to you. As long as you're your own man, people will respect you. When I go to shul, once in a while, some misguided people say, oh, you feel guilty, or you're a sucker, or you're... I'm going there because I have business to do there. I got a reason to go. Whether it's a feeling of spirituality or someone's making a simcha, I choose when I go. And there's no reason to leave the machane. A lot of people, they leave the machane. They're keeping kosher because they're afraid psychologically of the contamination of the animal, or they're afraid to go surfing because they think that when God is on the ocean, you know, and the stories in the Gemara or the Medrash about people saying, oh, you Jewish God, you're only on the ocean, but let me see you get me on dry land, and the guy swallows a drink with a fly and it ends up eating his brain or something. So they think, okay, surfing on Shabbos, might be a problem because maybe Hashem will land me in the rocks. Well, let me tell you guys, if Hashem is going to hit anybody, he's hitting me first because I dared him to. So don't worry about it. But stick with the machane is what I'm saying. You could come back. You could not come back. You belong to the people of your youth. Wherever you were raised in Litvish, go back to Litvish, hang out with your friends. If you're raised Lubavitch, hang out with your friends. And try your best to reach out to them and help them with human reason And if we can't go by human reason, what could we go by? Everybody has their faith, and that's where the machlokes in Am Yisrael comes from. It comes from everybody trying to push and foist their faith, and it never works. It just keeps splintering more and more. You have Lubavitch splintering into different types of groups, and it's going to keep splintering. Let us educate ourselves and let us understand, because the more sophisticated we are, the more simple the problems will be. The more sophisticated we understand things, the more simple the problems will be in our family, with our kids, with our chinuch. We'll see, wow, this guy wants to be a lawyer, this guy wants to be a mystic, and this guy wants to be run a Kabbalah center and be a highway robber and sell magical waters. Every son is different. One son's going to be a scientist, the other one's going to be a palm reader. You know what I mean? So, sei gesund and gute Woche, good Shabbos, and a happy Purim.